Hello and welcome to another Minecraft concept video with me, Gruva. Now today I have for you this mob farm that you can see behind me. I've got it switched off at the moment, so not too much happening. But basically the mob farm I've got laid out here is over an ocean, and it is going to take advantage of the surface spawns and just the surface spawns. You could build this any way you like, but you'll need to condition the ground area to make sure that there's no spawns outside of the places where you want them. So that would mean lighting up a whole area and all that kind of thing, but I think this is a little bit easier over an ocean, and you could have a little platform down here that goes to the nether and you just pop in and out, and you've got the collection system down below. I haven't bothered with a collection system for this because that's kind of something that you can work out for yourself and how you want it to do the collecting. Now, the obvious question is, why have I got three platforms spread out like this? And some of you, this will obviously be because of the tick radius and the density check. Okay, so basically, whilst the player, me, is stood in this white square in the middle, I am at the centre of a tick radius, and within that tick radius, mobs can spawn up to 6 chunks away if you got it up that high, or 4 chunks, which is what I've got on at the moment, because that emulates the realms setup. So the other reason I've got it laid out like this is because of the density check. Now, all of these platforms are over 4 chunks away from each other, so there's 4 chunks between those two, 4 chunks between those two, and 4 chunks between those two, which means that they are going to have completely separate density checks, which means that each set of platforms can spawn up to 8 mobs at any one time. And the reason I've gone for the maximum number of platforms in each area is to try and get as close to that 8 cap as quickly as possible. So let's just head over here and have a quick look. So I've got 4 chunks right next to each other right here, and I've got 3 there and 3 there. Now I'm going to put a little picture on the screen which is going to show the tick radius, and that's going to sort of show you where each of these chunks is within that tick radius, so you get an idea, and you'll see where the overlaps are, and you'll see that they don't overlap, and that is why I've got these laid out in this way. Now, one of the key points for this farm is that it is completely chunk aligned, which means that there is no margin for error around it. All of the redstone underneath it is basically directly underneath the platform area. I haven't got anything going out of the area there because I don't want it to get unloaded and not function. So everything is chunk aligned, everything is placed in carefully there. The actual layout is quite straightforward, and the redstone is very simple as well. All I've got here is this little timer. Let's switch this on, and let's switch it over to nighttime, and we'll have some night vision. So we should start seeing some we should start seeing some mob spawns any moment now. Nothing there, nothing there. Oh yeah, we've got some going on over there. We've got 1 or 2 over there, and we've got a few things over there. Now the timer down here, make sure that all of these flush at exactly the same time, which means that basically there's going to be no question of, say, mobs from here popping over into the range of these 2 platforms and filling up their density cap momentarily. So that's the idea with that one. And what we've got going on down here is I've got a little collection system which is going to just teleport all of the goodies to this area here and collect them up in here. Now, the only problem with using a mob farm like this is that it's not going to work during the day at all. So you're only really going to get the half of the efficiency out of it. And then you're also missing out on the cave spawns. However, the problem with basically all mob farms on Bedrock Edition or Bedrock Engine is that if you're trying to use the cave spawns, you need to have a really clear perimeter. You need to have a huge area where nothing else can spawn down in the caves. And that means if you've got a little 4x4 cave somewhere that hasn't been lit up, those mobs are going to drag your cap down instantly, and they're not going to despawn as well. Because of the despawning rules in Bedrock Engine, you only get despawns if the light level is above 7, or if they're being ticked, or if the player if the player's within 54 blocks of it. So this is why I've opted to do a surface only mob grinder. If you start using the cave spawns, then you're putting yourself to a lot of effort, and you're not actually going to see any benefit from it unless you've cleared out a huge area around here. And when I say huge, I mean that chunk there would need to have the 4 chunks either side of it all cleared. Everything in between here, all the way out in that direction as well, and that direction. So it would be an absolutely massive area that needs to be cleared completely. or lit up or slabbed. Basically, you need to make sure that absolutely no mobs can spawn anywhere down below, because the spawning conditions or despawning conditions are so difficult to handle. Now, as you can see, we're getting some creepers going on, we're getting some spiders going on, we're getting some nice drops here. Now let's have a quick look in here. What are we getting? Yeah, we're getting some goodies. Now, just to take a slightly closer look at one of these platforms, all that I've got down here is a dispenser and an observer looking at some redstone, and then just some redstone wire going back. And basically that's all running back to the middle there and getting powered by the one timer. So pretty straightforward. Let's just have a little, let's watch this spawn for a moment and see what we get. Yeah, we're getting really good rates on those squid. Yeah, 1, 2, 3. Yeah, we're doing okay on this one. I'm probably a little bit close. I'm blocking the spawns there. And that's another reason why this platform's well placed, is because if you're within 24 blocks of anything really, the mobs won't spawn within that area. Spherical. Now, another thing to consider if you're thinking about making a farm like this, you need to make sure that it's high enough up. I've only just given enough clearance. So I've basically got this set at level 100. So the floor level where they drop from is at level 100. And the mobs are hitting basically one block above the water, and they are just dying. So when I say just dying, I mean sort of the witches and the endermen, who've got slightly more health. And they're hitting down there and they're dying instantly, and we're getting the drops. Now, one other thing that's worth noting is that down below the platforms here, I've actually spawn-proofed all of this, because I found occasionally a mob might spawn on the redstone, or an enderman might teleport down there. Now, you could quite easily relay this out so that the actual redstone was much higher, like 2 blocks higher basically, and have no space. But I think this is easier to lay out if you're doing this in survival. So like I said, it's really important to switch this off when you're not in the area. So it could be quite easy just to have a pressure plate that you stand on with a torch, which inverts the signal and basically locks this up when you're not on it. So that'll be really straightforward, and then you can just AFK stood on the pressure plate and you'll be absolutely fine. All will be working absolutely lovely. Okay, so one other thing that's worth noting is that over here I've actually got an island which is within range of this platform here. So if I count out 4 chunks in that direction, 4 chunks in that direction, draw a square, that pretty much the whole island lands within that square, which means that any mobs that spawn on here are going to add to the density cap of that. So if you have a similar situation, you've got an island out here like this, then you need to light it up. I have rather cheatily just converted all of the sand into glowstone and sort of left it at that really, and that should handle it for me. But you need to go out there and either knock it down or light it up, or build this a little bit further across in that direction so that it's further away from any islands. Okay, so I'm going to leave a world download down in the description below so you can have a look at this and see what you think, and maybe even work out your own version. You could quite easily get away with just using one module of this and you'll get some drops, but I wanted to do 3 and I wanted to maximize what I could get from this, because, you know, that's what we do, so why not? So the other key point with this is it's focusing on just getting the surface spawns, and by building it out over an ocean I can also get those extra drops from the squid, which are actually quite good. You get some good rates from the squids out here, and you're also going to get some good rates from the mobs because you don't have to light up any area or any surface area, because nothing's going to spawn on the surface down there. It's just water all the way, nothing to spawn on. So anyway guys, that is all that I've got for you today. Now I hope you enjoyed this video, this concept idea. Now if you did, please do leave a like down below. It makes a big difference, gets it out there, more people can see it, it's really helpful. Also, if you've got any questions, drop me a comment. I read all of my comments. And finally, if you want to see some more of this, drop me a subscribe. Now hopefully, we'll see you again soon. Goodbye!